Hello, 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 friends. Hello, Event Therapy Network. Thank you all for your patience. Thank you for being here. I'm super excited because we get a chance to talk about self awareness, right? We get a chance to talk about that thing that we don't talk about very often in regards to our mental health. And for those who are in the events and entertainment industry or the wedding industry, my name is Teresa Sawyer, as many of you know, and I am the curator and founder of Event Therapy Network. We are a network that provides a safe space for each and every one of you to learn more about the importance of addressing our own mental health, why that is so important for us as industry professionals. What can we be doing to ensure that we are taking care of ourselves just as much as we are taking care of our clients, and that we are maintaining the power that we all already have within as event professionals, even those who are up and coming event industry professionals. This network allows you to be able to come together with like-minded individuals who you can learn from, that you can receive the support from, that you can support as well. We run off of three main pillars with our organization or with our network. And those pillars are mental, of course, mental and physical health. You all know that last week we actually hosted our apples and bananas. I always have to sing it when I say it, but our apples and bananas webinar where we talked about how our physical wellness impacts our mental fitness. Again, how our physical wellness impacts our mental fitness, what that all means, how that plays a role in our day to day activity, and as well as our functioning as event professionals and simply as individuals who are working hard for the benefit and the service of our clients. And so, again, our first one is mental and physical health is our first pillar of success for event therapy. Our second pillar is business wellness and financial security. Now, that encompasses so much, but when we just talk about our business wellness, most of the time when I'm having conversations with industry professionals about mental fitness and about mental health, a lot of the roots of issues continue to be about business, right? How am I receiving more clients? What do I need to do? How do I price? Some of the questions that many of us may even still have in regards to business development and business growth. And how do we scale? What does that mean? How do we market? How do we let people know that we are available and around to service you? You know, our business health, our business development is crucial for the growth of our business, of course, but it's also it's crucial for how we think about our position in business, right? That imposter syndrome often sets in, and sometimes it sets in because of that confidence level, not having enough confidence or not having much confidence in our business, what our business entails, who we truly connect with, what we really can do, not necessarily being aware of our overall understanding or our overall business, right? And so, business health as well as financial security. We all know that this industry, just like most service-based industry, can be a little, sometimes up and down. You do have to go out there and get what's yours and let people know that you are available. Let people know that you have the skills, that you have the techniques, you have the understanding and the knowledge as a professional to produce their events, to help them to develop their vision and help them to turn that vision into an amazing event, amazing wedding, whatever it is that you do and that you focus on. Even if you are a photographer, even if you are a caterer, a facility owner, whomever you may be in this industry, there are times where we want to make sure, there's all the time that we want to make sure, right, that our business is working for us and not working against us. And so with event therapy, not only mental health and physical health is a pillar, but that business health, business wellness, as well as financial security is that second pillar that we have. Now, our third pillar that we have is what you see in this group here, right? What we're trying to grow in this group, which is social networking, right? Social networking as well as relationship sustainability. How do we go out there and we network with individuals who are in our industry or maybe not in our industry? And then how do we sustain those relationships? How do we sustain those relationships that we've built, or that we people that we've met when we're out there networking? What does that mean when we talk about social networking? And so with event therapy, we are looking to find ways to support you, support us, and building a understanding of social networking, how that works for you. And then how do we sustain those relationships, right? How do we sustain those relationships moving forward? And so those are our main three pillars of success when it comes to event therapy. Obviously, what you hear most about is mental health, but I'm definitely one to believe that if you are an entrepreneur, business health, business wellness, social networking, even especially with what's going on today when it comes to AI and social media and all of that, All of these areas are areas that we want to make sure that we're working on, because we also know, based on my conversations and data that I've pulled, that those other areas, business wellness, social networking, relationships, all of that, they impact how we feel about the growth of our business, how we feel about what we're capable of as event professionals, no matter where you are on the level, whether you are just starting out in business, whether you've been in business for a while. We understand that those things can impact us. All right. And so that leads us into what I wanted to talk about today, which is, how do I untangle my mind? I have so much happening, so many things that are going on. We talked about, hey, we can find ways to work out in our chair. We can go outside, we can do this, relax, all of these things. But when we have so many things in our mind and we're trying to figure out what's first, what's next, what's second, it can become overwhelming, right? It can become overwhelming if we don't have the tools to better understand those overwhelming feelings and what to do with those overwhelming feelings. It can lead to something called burnout, right? And we're not going to talk a lot about burnout. You guys know what that is. We are definitely going to talk about it on another day, but it can definitely lead into burnout, which also leads into a lack of joy that you now have for being in this business. And so what we're talking about is, how do we untangle, and that's the wrong flyer, but how do we untangle my mind? How do I untangle my mind? And so we're going to give you 5 keys to self-awareness today. And let me just read one of the things one of the quotes that I have here, which is, self-awareness is the foundation. It is the foundation of growth. Understanding yourself, being aware of who you are, being aware of your business, being aware of what your strengths are, being aware of your areas of improvement, being aware of those who are around you, being aware of your business, being aware of all these things is the foundation of how you grow in business, but also how you grow and how you build that power as a business owner, and also as a strong individual, just out here supporting your own pathway. And so when you understand your emotions, as it states here, your strengths, your weaknesses, I call them areas of improvement, you unlock the potential to lead with confidence and clarity. Confidence and mental clarity. Those are the 2 big things that we all need as we adjust into different stages of our business. Confidence and mental clarity. Okay. So I'm going to be going back and forth, because I'm going to be going back and forth when it comes to our what's it called, PowerPoint here. All right. So let's see here. All right. So untangle my mind. 5 keys to self-awareness. We just went over all of that. So as event industry professionals, what has you entangled? What has you entangled? I want you guys to sit right here in this moment and think to yourself, what has me entangled? What am I entangled with right now? And what does entanglement mean? I know you guys remember entanglement with Jada Pinkett and what she said about her little entanglement when her and Will had their red table talk. But I want you to think about it as well. What has you entangled? What are you entangled with? So entanglement is generally something that's complicated, right? It's a complicated situation, right? It's a complicated situation where you may be intertwined with another situation, or you may be that you're intertwined with another person. You're caught up in situations that may be difficult or a challenge for you to break out of, right? And you end up being, stressed about it from time to time, because you're trying to figure out, how do I get out of this entanglement? And so that is what is happening when we're talking about, you know how do I untangle my mind? We have entanglements all in here. So once we start understanding, how do we identify and how do I know what's happening, then we're able to start getting ourselves out of that entanglement. Thank you, Jada Pinkett, for Adding that word to our vocab, right? All right. So I want you to think about that real quick. Think, 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 think. All right, cool beans. So today, our objectives, in order to get out of this entanglement, we want to know how do we increase our emotional intelligence. Increase our emotional intelligence. That means that we want to learn how to recognize and manage our emotions. Recognize, identify, and manage those emotions, right? How can I reduce my stress, and how do I improve my decision making, whether that be personal or professional? So, increase my emotional intelligence and recognize and manage my emotions, right? Our second objective today is going to be identify and leverage our personal strengths and weaknesses. I say areas of improvement, right? So identify our and leverage. So not just identifying our strengths in our areas of improvement, but also leverage those two areas, right? So that means explore how my self-awareness helps me to understand these areas so that I can then do what? I cannot be a hoarder, task hoarder, right? Don't want to be a task hoarder, but I can better delegate those tasks to others who have the skill to be able to do so. And even if I have to take a little bit more time to teach them or train them, then now they're still able to do those things, and I can then remove some of those areas off of me. And those are the areas that still may be our strengths, but we can still delegate. In those areas that are weaknesses or areas of improvement, there may be others out there who can actually, that's their strength, and they can actually take on that task. So identify those areas, but also leverage those areas so that you can then have more time to do the things that you need to do for yourself personally as well as in the business. All right. Number three, develop mindfulness and stress management techniques. We talk about this all the time, right? I'm on different stages across the US. That's crazy to say that, but I'm on different stages and we talk about burnout. We talk about mindfulness. We talk about stress strategies. We talk about self soothing strategies, all of these different things. And I always say that what works for Teresa may not necessarily work for you, but let's figure out what works for you so that you could then begin to identify what those things are and then implement them into your day-to-day activities, right? So that's a part of self-awareness. You have to understand yourself, know what works for you, so then you could begin to implement those strategies that can support you in what I consider and what many of you consider high pressure situations when it comes to events. And why is that important? All right, as you see here, why is that important? It's important because when you have significant stress management techniques that work for you, or you're able to develop some sort of mindfulness, meditation techniques that work for you, then you're able to build your resilience and you're also able to build your mental clarity, your resilience and your mental clarity. When you're able to have mental clarity, then that entanglement that we're talking about begins to, feel much easier to handle and work with. Okay. All right. Key number one. All right. We're talking about why do this always happen? The music here. Let's see. Every time I every time I do this slideshow, I have music on here. So I got to figure out where the music is on here, yo. And it won't stop, won't stop, won't stop. Hold on just a second. Let me see if I can get that off. How do I get that off? I don't know how to get it off. Maybe it'll stop. All right. Here we go. Here we go. We go. Just gonna do it one more time, I'm sure. All right. So our first key to self-awareness, there it is. Our first key to self-awareness is reflect on your emotions. And music actually works here. So reflect on your emotions, everybody. We're talking about 5 keys to self-awareness. The first step of that is reflecting on your emotions, right? As individuals like ourselves who are in this fast-paced industry called event management, wedding management, we find that there is high levels of stress and oftentimes emotional overload that we endure. And so we want to make sure that because we are in this fast-paced industry, that is typical. We deal with typical stress, but oftentimes it's high stress. We want to make sure that we reflect on how we felt and how we feel when we are in those situations. What did we need to help reduce that stress that we felt, right? What led to us feeling stress in those moments? Take time to identify your emotional triggers. What are my triggers? When I'm getting upset, meaning angry. When I'm getting upset, meaning sad. When I'm getting upset, meaning bothered or overwhelmed. What are those triggers to those emotions, especially during events? What are those triggers to those emotions? So if you are on here right now, I want you to get your piece of paper or your notebook. So here's an event therapy notebook. If you are in our membership, you will get an event therapy notebook. Not this one, but you will get one. And I want you to take this. I'm going to do it myself as we're on here. And I want you to write down, what are some of your emotional triggers? What are some things that lead you to feeling stress during an event? What happened? Reflect back on that particular event. What happened? All right. Now that you've identified that emotion, and I'm writing mine down, and I'll tell you what one of mine is. Miscommunication. Miscommunication is definitely one of my triggers, when it comes to events, or which is all related to communication, which is repetition, right? Repeating ourselves in a way that those understand, but aren't necessarily moving forward with that action. Okay, so miscommunication is one trigger for me that makes a very intense situation become more intense. Okay, so that is one. Normally that's during events, right? So I want you to write that down. I also want you to write down emotional triggers to feeling good, feeling happy. What makes you happy and excited during events? And so I will write mine down. Mine is seeing smiles on the faces of those participants, not just our client, but of the participants or the guest, right? Or attendees, whichever type of event that you're hosting. When I see smiles on the faces of those individuals, it makes me smile. So I know that they are having a good time. I know that they see something that they enjoy, that visually, that they are ready for the next step or next phase of that event. So that makes me happy. That makes me feel good, right? Now, regular reflection helps you to manage your stress. And that's why this is important and why I want you to do that exercise, right? Because when you are reflecting on what's going on with you, what your emotions are, like what's happening, what are your triggers, it helps you to better identify when stress is coming, identify what to do when stress is here, and helps you to improve your decision making. Sometimes when we're high strung or stressed out, we tend to make quick decisions without thinking about those decisions, right? And with the event industry, because it is fast paced, sometimes you have to quickly make a decision. But if you have over time reflected on what makes you feel good, what doesn't make you feel good, how to move about in the industry, things of that nature, it does help you to quickly make those decisions, but still make good decisions, right? And so that's very important. So, key number one, reflect on your emotions, do that regularly, write down or know what your stressors are and what your emotional triggers are, good and not so good, right? Good and not so good. Next key. Anybody have questions as we go through, as we have more music? Very good. Our next key is identify your strengths. All right. Again, I put weaknesses here, but like I said, I like to go with areas of improvement. So identify your strengths, identify your weaknesses. So this is what we want you to do in this case. I want you to take inventory of your strengths and your areas of improvement. Take inventory or do a self audit. I do have one presentation where I talk about taking a self audit of yourself. So do a self audit, take inventory of your key strengths. What am I good at? What do I love doing? And I know I execute that thing well. I know I do it well. Write that down. Use your event therapy notebook and write that down, right? These are just practical strategies that helps you to enhance your understanding of yourself, your awareness of yourself, right? So I want you to do that. Take inventory of your key strengths and areas of improvement. All right. So every event planner, event producer, caterer, florist, facility owner, photographer, videographer, whomever you are in this industry, we all have strengths, right? And we also have areas of improvement. So it's important for us to acknowledge them, and then it also helps us to assign tasks, right? Assign tasks better to those who are working with us. Help us to understand what vendors we need to contact to support us in a particular event, and it also helps us to be more effective in collaborating with our team members and with others, right? So we're hitting on those pillars, right? And knowing your areas of improvement does the same thing because it helps us to prevent burnout. If we're able to prevent burnout, that can really help us to stay excited and maintain that joy and satisfaction in this industry. And so when you know your areas of improvement or areas of quote unquote weaknesses, right? You are able to focus and excel in those areas that you do have identifiable strengths. You're able to excel in that. So you want to make sure that you're aware of what you are good at doing, what you're not so good at doing, right? What stay in your lane. How do I stay in my lane and what does that mean? That doesn't mean that you're not good at something else that's in another lane. And it doesn't mean that you can't do those things at some point. But how do I maintain my lane, if you will, and do the things that I need to do here so that I can prevent burnout and so that I can then execute at my highest level and at the highest quality, right? So take inventory of your key strengths and your key areas of improvement. All right. All right. Third, feedback regularly. So that's like evaluation. Ask questions. That's right. Make sure to you know. Sometimes I've learned that people who are leading their companies, they present themselves as if they know everything, right? And so for me, I don't present myself that way because I don't know everything. And so for me, I do ask questions. I want to know, how are you feeling? I want to know where there's changes that should have, or things that we could have done differently, not just from my client, but I want to know that from our team members. Because again, it's important for you to understand areas that you have strengths, meaning you personally, but also in your business. What areas of business are areas of improvement that need to be improved? What are areas that are where we are strong? And so that information, that feedback can definitely come from those who are around you, especially your team members, right? And also your clients and your peers and those vendors that you're working with, because this information is invaluable when we talk about growing our businesses, right? And building that confidence and that clarity as to what my business actually does and what I'm actually able to accomplish and what we're actually capable of making happen again at that highest level. But it also provides us with insights, right? It provides us with insights into how others perceive us, right? Our work, our behavior. And for those, whether especially those who are planners in this industry or service-based individuals, regardless of what industry you're in, Oftentimes you're people pleasers, right? You want to please your client. Like we all want to please our clients. We want to make sure that they receive the service at the highest level because they are paying us money that is good money, right? And we want them to continue to pay us, and we want to make sure that that they feel that they pay for a service that supported their goals. And so we want to make sure that you understand how others are perceiving you, how your team members are perceiving you and your business, and what your behavior is like. Because sometimes, when you're in the moment, you're in the moment. You may not necessarily be focusing or paying attention to how you're moving about. And so getting that feedback regularly is very important. So one tip that I have is after every event, okay, after every event, ask for honest feedback from your colleagues who work with you, your clients, and your team members. Use it so that you can make improvements for future projects, right? Be self aware in that respect, okay? All right, cool beans. Let me know, guys, if you have any questions. We want to make sure that we are providing. Yes, yes. All right, key four to our mind, five keys to self awareness. Our fourth one here is practice mindfulness. Practice mindfulness. Practice mindfulness. We all know, again, like we said in the beginning, the event industry in itself is fast paced, high stress. There's a lot happening. It's a lot of moving parts, and we all know because those who tend to join our sessions, I always tell you that this industry continues to be ranked as top six stressful industries that anyone could be a part of, right? It's weird, right? It is. And it's because I think part of it is the people pleasing, but I also think, is something that tugs at their heart in most cases, no matter really what type of event it is. It really tugs. And of course, there's money involved, right? So you want to make sure that you are practicing, have some type of strategies that you can use, such as mindfulness. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's walking, but something that is going to be supportive of you as you are going through the motions of producing the best event ever, right? And so, in the midst of tight deadlines, because you know that happens with events and high expectations, when we have mindfulness and we're practicing mindfulness, it can ground us in our present moment. It can improve us in our focus and our concentration, our attention to those details. And it can also reduce our anxiety. It can reduce our anxiety and reduce the onset of panic attacks. So some people really maybe not don't know that, why am I breathing so hard? Why are my hands sweating? Why does my heart feel like it's jumping out of my chest? These are somatic symptoms that are part of panic attacks. And so panic attacks is connected obviously with anxiety. And so we want to do our best in this industry to reduce as much anxiety as possible for ourselves, the same way we do that with our clients. And so what I encourage you to do is to implement short mindfulness practices throughout your day, especially on the day of. And so that has to be something that's intentional, guys. It has to be intentional. And the reason why I say that is because I understand I'm an event producer. We're always on the go. Sometimes we don't stop the way that we need to stop. We don't eat the way that we need to eat. We're moving, 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 moving. We got papers all over the place. We don't have much organization on our own at times, but we're super organized for our clients, right? But we have to find ways to be intentional to stop. That's it, to stop and take short mindfulness breaks, and to use those practices throughout that day so that you can find way to be centered, that you find calmness in this chaos, right? Once you physically start moving in chaos, mentally that chaos appears there. And that's a lot of times when that anxiety begins to set in. That's a lot of times when those panic attacks also begin to set in. And that is a sure way of us leading to burnout and a loss of satisfaction, a loss of um, enjoyment for this industry. So we want you to make sure that you're being self-aware enough to know that, hey, I need to take a break right now. I need to sit back and I need to center myself in this moment, right? So a tip that I have here is before the event begins, right? Even before the event begins, take 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, 5 minutes, to breathe deeply and focus your mind using some affirmations. We have stress balls here at Event Therapy Network. Grab you a stress ball. Some of you probably already have one from us, but go to our website, grab you a stress ball, and begin to utilize these meditation skills, these affirmation building activities that we have. Ask us for them. If you don't see them, ask us. Join our email list so that you can receive our newsletters, because we do add those affirmations in there. We do add strategies in there for deep breathing. And so I want you guys to be able to have those resources so that you can use even before your event begins. So those small practices like that will make a big difference in how you make decisions on a day of, and how you respond on a day of to your clients, how you move, what type of energy you present on the day of. We are not able to change someone else's mood in regards to like our clients, for example. We can do what we need to do to share as much information as possible to help them to relieve as much stress as possible for themselves. But we want to make sure that you're doing it for you, so that if you encounter a situation that is high strung, that you know how to bring yourself back, pace yourself, and stay in the moment in the most calm and centered way as possible. Okay. All right. So let us know if you have any questions. We will be sending out a one sheet or a worksheet that you can then take some notes on as well. All right. Again, for our next key. Key number 5, set personal goals for growth. Based on the conversation that I've had in the past with many of our colleagues, is, sometimes we go out here, we get in business naked, right? We get in business naked. And what I mean by that is that sometimes we get in business, or we create a package, or we create a particular item on our to-do list, but we don't have a goal set to it, so that we understand, or a strategy set to it, so that we understand our pathway of growth, right? So set your personal goals for growth. How long do I really want to do this, right? Is this something that I really want to maintain? Where do I want it to go? Who do I want to serve, and why do I want to serve them? So as you begin to set your personal goals, you ask yourself these questions, because that helps you to determine what your personal goals are for growth. Okay. This music is like off the chain, right? And so self-awareness leads to growth. When we start asking ourselves these questions, we start taking notes, writing these things down, becoming clear as to what our goals are and what the objectives are to our goals. What are the activities that we need to set in stone, or place there for our goals? When we begin to do that, then we begin to grow, right? So self-awareness, being aware of all these things, leads us to growth. So identify the areas that you want to improve, right? And that you want to set clear personally. And you could also do it for your business as well, right? So set clear, actionable goals for your personal and professional development. We sort of talked about this last week when we talked about, again, how our physical health, wellness impacts our mental fitness. This is the same thing. This is how us being self-aware impacts our mental clarity and our confidence, right? And so we talked about SMART goals. So in this, we use SMART goals as well, which are being specific about what we are looking to do, making sure that these areas are measurable, like, in the next, you know, how often we want to do it, right? Making sure that it's achievable, that it makes sense, that it's also realistic or relevant, and that it's time bound as well, so that we stay accountable to those personal goals that we've created for ourselves, right? All right. So, tip: break your goals down though. So, we want you to set personal goals, but I want you to break them down. I think what leads to stress, anxiety, is that we have a crazy goal sheet, right? With all of these things on here. And we think, or we're trying to accomplish everything at the same time. I'm raising my hand right here. So we're trying to accomplish all these things at the same time. And that leads us to stress. It triggers emotional outbursts. It triggers emotional discomfort. And we want to, at Event Therapy, to help you to find comfort in your emotions, identify your emotions, be comfortable in your emotions, know what to do when those certain emotions come about, and they may be challenging for you, what to do with those emotions, especially before and during those events, right? And then what can I do on a regular basis to ensure that I'm putting myself first, and I'm continuing to add myself to my timeline, not just everything that I need to do with the client, but what do I need to do for myself? So break these goals down into short term and long term goals or milestones. So in order to do that, you have to write it down, right? Of course, but you also want to review and adjust each goal that you have every so often, because things change, right? Things change. The way we move about, as we see, social media is here and is here to stay. We have all these streaming networks like I'm using right now, but we also have AI. And we have just so many things changing so fast when it comes to technology. It's hard to keep up. And so, we want to make sure we leave room for review and adjustments as we need to, when we're writing our goals and we're putting all that information down. And so, what I would say is to create a goal setting worksheet. And I'm going to see if I can find one to send to those who are needing this. But a goal setting worksheet, I think, is fine. I'm actually looking over here in my notes to see if I have one for you, because I think that will be great. Great to have. Let me see real quick. And I'm only doing this while I'm on here with you all, because I think it'll be good for me to send it to those who may send a message to me, um, and so that you have that. All right. All right. And I also want to give you homework as well. So when it comes to this particular one, so I don't have it right here with me, but I do want to say that I want to encourage you to think about one goal. I want you to think about one goal that you have, and I want you to set it after this session. I want you to write that goal down, one goal. I want you to write the objectives down for that one goal, activities, things of that nature. And then I want you to reflect on it. Reflect on that first before you begin to start implementing. I want you to begin to reflect on it. Make sure it aligns well with where you are and what you truly want to do. What do you truly want to do as you move forward in your business? And this helps us to be more aware of the type of projects that we put on our plate, the type of projects that we accept from clients. We want to make sure that it truly makes sense, because what we don't want to do is end up doing more and more and more of things that don't help us to grow financially, or just in business or personally. Sometimes I think we get boggled down with a whole bunch of things just because it's available for us to do it. But we want to make sure that we've been very mindful of that. All right. Um, Again, so as we get ready to wrap up, what we did was we talked about how do we untangle our mind, and we went over 5 key self-awareness tips that help us to unlock our potential. 5 key steps or keys that can help us to unlock our potential in this business, help us to be better aware of what's going on so that we can begin to remove so many of those things that we have in our heads. Once we are aware of ourselves and what we're capable of and what we really want to do and what makes sense for us in this moment, then we are in a better position to regulate our emotions, because the event industry in itself is going to be fast paced. It's going to be fast paced, right? It's going to be high stress. But how do I handle that stress? What works for me? Because again, what works for Teresa may not necessarily work for you. And so I laugh all the time and I tell people, I like folding clothes, not your clothes, but I like folding my clothes. So that strategy of self soothing may not necessarily work for you, but it definitely is something that works for me. All right. So when we talk about unlocking your potential with self-awareness or unlocking that, it's like us again being self-aware um, in our journey of success in business. If you are been in the industry for a long time and you're thinking about moving out of the industry and going to something else, then again being more self-aware. What did I learn in this particular business that I was in for 5 years, 10 years, and how can I take those lessons and those learnings and put it into um, the new goals that I have, whatever it is that I'm looking to do. How do I apply those strategies daily so that I'm reducing my stress as well, right? How do I enhance my team? How do I utilize my team? How do I ensure that I'm not task hoarding? How do I ensure that I'm delegating tasks to those who have strengths where I have weaknesses or areas that I need to improve? What are areas in my business or in our business that need to improve? I get that information from those who experience us, how they perceive us, what they recognize to be strengths of your agency or strengths of you, and what they recognize to be areas of improvement. That's not saying that you're going to take on everybody's opinions, but it's always good to understand and have somewhat of that feedback, especially from your team members, because they are working with you on a daily basis and they are aware of the changes that may be good to make in your business. Okay. All right. So call to action here. Call to action. Let's start with call to action, right? Call is, of course, join our exclusive membership. Join our event therapy membership. We would love to have you a part of it, because these type of classes and online events, we are doing those privately as well for those who are our members. You do also get a chance to be connected with our event therapy professional mentors who are in various disciplines. So not just mental health, but there's different areas that align with our pillars that we talked about, which again are mental health and physical health, business wellness and financial security, as well as social networking and relationship sustainability. And so our professional mentors are those individuals that our members are able to tap into their networks and tap into their expertise for the growth of their business, as well as to be able to um, better manage the challenges that they may be facing that may be causing stress and causing anxiety. Okay, so ET membership, of course, it also comes with our mental detox sessions. Our mental detox sessions, these are our one-on-one counseling sessions or one-on-one coaching sessions, I should say, that really kind of delves deeper into what's going on and try to develop an understanding of the root of the concerns or issues that one may be experiencing. And we are doing it as a group as well. And so if you're a member, and even if you're not a member, when it comes to this, you have an organization, you have a team that you would like for us to host mental detox sessions, coaching sessions, group sessions, then we would love to be able to do that to support you and be very cater those sessions to what's happening within your particular agency. But for those who are members, we are providing those sessions on a larger scale. And if you are, as an individual, whether you're a member or not, and you would like a mental detox session, we're definitely available to that. You can scan this QR code, which will take you to our website. There, you're able to get a plethora of information when it comes to event therapy, including our magazine. Here's one of them, our magazine here. We're actually working on our next magazine right now. And so if you are looking to be a contributor, be sure to email us. If you are looking to place an ad, please message us because we do have some spots available. As well as if you are simply wanting to just put your information in our magazine so that others would know who you are and what you are doing and focus in on you, please message us because we do have that available for you as well. Here is our information. Our website is eventtherapynetwork.com. Eventtherapynetwork.com. We're doing these group sessions here monthly is what we're looking to do. There's a copy of our magazine right there, and of course our events that we host, which are those conversations behind the drapes. So eventtherapynetwork.com. You can also email me at hello@eventtherapynetwork.com. I can't end this session without letting you guys know that mental health is something that we want to make sure that we're always and constantly talking about. That you understand that if there is something that is going on in your life, and even if it's not something that you feel pressing that's going on in your life, that a mental health therapist, even coming to event therapy, is very and extremely important for each and every one of us. It's a valuable resource. It improves us, our mental health. It helps us to better understand our mental, our emotional well-being, and just our overall quality of life. There is a national line or hotline, which is 988. 988 is our national hotline. If you are needing additional support, please dial that number. It does not come to event therapy, but it does go to qualified mental health trained staff that can support you and talk with you about the situation that you may be challenged with in that time, in that moment. So please do not be afraid to pick up the phone and contact that mental health line. Okay, please, please, please be able to do that. You guys know we do have a pick up the phone campaign that's going on. I'm going to get out of this screen real quick so that I can show you guys that. But I hope what I share with you today when it comes to untangling our minds was beneficial, and really those 5 keys to self-awareness. I really hope that it was beneficial for you because it does help us to build our confidence. It helps us to, when we are self-aware, it helps us to build our confidence. It helps us to find mental clarity. It helps us to continue to grow in this business and continue to do the great work that we are trained to do, or that we were just blessed to do. It really leads to a greater life satisfaction personally. It helps us to increase our resilience when we are self aware. It helps us to enhance our relationships, improve our emotional regulation, and know what that means and how to um, reduce negative thought patterns. Go from those negative thought patterns and switch it to those positive thought patterns. So, our self awareness allows us to do that. Again, let me go through that one more time. Self awareness, we're untangling our mind, helps us to reduce negative thought patterns, right? It helps us to become more emotionally intelligent, right? It helps us to develop a greater life satisfaction personally and professionally. It helps us to increase our resilience in this business and just in life, right? It helps us to enhance our relationships with others, with our team members, with those who are in the community that we face or that we encounter, build those relationships. And it helps us to improve our emotional regulation. How are we recognizing our triggers? How are we what are we doing when we recognize our triggers? That we are able to make better decisions when we're more aware. We're able to reduce our anxiety. We're able to reduce stress. We're able to build healthy relationships. It helps us to bounce back more quickly when we're self aware. It helps us to maintain and promote enjoyment in this industry that we so love, right? And it helps us to improve our overall mental health and improve our ability to grow to grow in excitement in this industry, right? So self-awareness is a foundational skill to untangle our minds. Like it really promotes us when it comes to emotional balance and becoming more aligned with what really makes sense for us, not necessarily what makes sense for everybody else, but what makes sense for me, connecting me with my goals, connecting me with my future, connecting me with my business and what I see in the future for my business. Okay, so I'm going to get off of this screen here and go back to you because I want to see you guys' comments here if there are any comments. If not, I definitely want you all to be able to reach out to us so that you know what we have available for you as a network. I am going to show you the flyer for the pick up the phone. I'm going to always share this flyer out with each and every one of you because I think it's so important. Asking everyone to be a part of this campaign that we have here. Let's see if it shows up. All right. All right. So for some reason, it's not popping up, but you guys can go on our page and find the pick up the phone campaign flyer. I will be posting it again. I look forward to you guys being a part of event therapy, being a part of Event Therapy Network, and all the things that we have going on. Thank you all so much, and I look forward to next time.